In this video, I'm going to talk about network video recorders, or NVRs for short. I've recently set up this 4-channel NVR from WGCC, and I'm impressed with it, especially when I compare it with my Core i5 PC, doing basically the same thing with some video surveillance software called Blue Iris. So what's an NVR? NVRs take the video feed from several IP cameras and creates a centralized CCTV system with 24/7 recording. When motion detection is triggered, a marker is put on the recording, so you can easily go back and find and play back motion triggered events. So on the back we've got all the connections. They've got our HDMI connector, an old-fashioned VGA connector, 2 USB ports. I've got a mouse plugged into one. It comes with a mouse. Incidentally, it doesn't work with a USB keyboard, so whenever you have to enter text on the NVR, you get a little pop-up on-screen keyboard which you have to click on the letters using the mouse. This is the LAN connection. And the LAN connection connects it to my home network. This lets the NVR see any IP cameras on my network, and it connects it to the internet for remote monitoring. The 4 Ethernet connectors let you connect wired network cameras directly to the PVR. The great thing about this is they're running on a separate network, so they won't hog the bandwidth on your main network. The NVR is acting as a bridge. So from your main network, you can still access all of the feeds, including those from cameras connected to these ports. Oh, and they're power over Ethernet ports, so they work great with cameras with that facility. So you only need to run a single Ethernet cable to the camera, no power cable needed. I've got 2 power over Ethernet cameras on my network, so when I install this NVR in my little server cupboard upstairs, which has got Ethernet cables leading to all the bedrooms, I'll be connecting my wired cameras directly to the power over Ethernet ports. I've actually got several different makes of IP cameras, and they've all got different software and different apps for controlling them. But they all follow an industry standard called Onvif. Onvif is a way for cameras from different brands to be accessible using a standard protocol. And that's a key point here. This WGCC NVR not only works with WGCC cameras, but it also works with any Onvif compliant camera. Now, some brands of NVR network video recorders only work with their own brand of cameras. That's quite important. Now, WGCC are a brand you may not have heard of. I hadn't heard of them until I bought one of their IP cameras at the end of last year. They seem to be quite new to the CCTV market, but their software isn't. The software or operating system that runs on the NVR is based on an established system which is also used by a number of other brands like Omni CCTV and Uniview CCTV. So if you've seen or used NVRs before, you might be familiar with the user interface that's on this one. I'm not going to go into all the details here. Suffice to say that there's an extended user manual you can download which covers everything in here, as well as the initial setup and scanning your network for cameras, which it did particularly well. It picked up 3 of my cameras automatically. I only had to manually configure 1 of them. Here's the 4 camera feeds. Top left is 1440p Super HD WGCC dome camera, same company as who makes the NVR. Top right is another 1440p dome camera. This is a rear link. Bottom left is a 720p C-Tronics bullet camera, and the bottom right is actually quite an old one. It's one of my first cameras that I got. It's a SriCam. It's a 720p indoor camera looking out of the window by my front door. Incidentally, the WCC camera at the top, the Super HD one, that is using the more advanced H.265 compression. Now, H.265 streams use much higher compression than regular H.264, so they use a lot less disk space and a lot less bandwidth on the network. It does require more processing power to play back though. But this NVR seems to handle the H.265 streams with no problems at all. We double click on any of the screens, they go full screen. When it's on full screen, I've got it currently set so that it will cycle through each of the cameras. The timing for the cycling can be changed in the settings, and you can also switch the cycling off. Okay, let's have a look at Playback. Right click on the main screen to select Playback. From here we can choose a single camera or multiple cameras. We can play back the recordings of multiple cameras at the same time. For now I'm just going to select front road. At the bottom of the screen here there's a timeline. If you click on the timeline you can then zoom into the timeline, and when you zoom in you can see little red markers. The red markers are where motion has been detected. There we go. If I click on there, there's a vehicle coming by. The way the PVR works is as the disc fills up, it starts overwriting the older clips first. If you've got a particular clip you don't want that to happen with, you click the padlock icon, and it means that that clip will never get overwritten until you actually go and delete it in the settings. Okay, let's say we want to export a clip. On the bottom left we've got start clipping. Click that. Go to the end of where we want to record and click stop clipping. And now if we click on the file management down here, there's our clip, and I can click back up and choose where I want to back it up to. It's picked up the memory stick I've got plugged into the front, so I can just click back up and that'll save it to the USB stick. It's done. We can tag a section of the video, which is an interesting little feature. We can add a default tag, which will just add a tag called tag, or we can add a customized tag. Now, I've actually done this earlier in the week, adding a few random tags here and there. So if I change the playback view from normal at the top left to tag, I'll choose all of the cameras on the top right. Now I can just do a search for a particular tag, but I'm just going to leave it blank and it'll come up with all of the tags which I've set. There we go, I did one there, silver car. Let's click play on there. It's from the front road camera, no surprise. There we go. The more useful feature in my opinion is to change the playback mode to event, and then on the right hand side I can choose the event type. I'm going to choose motion, and let's choose the back garden. Set a date range, let's do it just for today, and click search. And this has now picked up a list of all of the motion triggered events which it recorded today. So let's choose one at random. Oh look, there's me coming back from my bike ride. Now, everything you can do in the main user interface on the NVR when it's connected to TV, you can also do from any computer on your network using the browser-based interface. Unfortunately, this requires Internet Explorer, but if you can put up with that, it does a great job. I like it a lot. In fact, I prefer it in some ways to the main interface that you get on the HDMI output on the TV. The digital zoom works on each camera even before you maximize them, which is pretty nice. We go to playback, very similar to on the TV. We can see the events on the timeline and select play, and that plays our motion detected event. Just like I can on the main interface, I can use the clipping icon to start clipping and stop clipping, and then the save button appears. I can click on save and download. There we go, it gives me a link to the file which is downloaded onto the PC. So I go on to setup, and from here again pretty much all of the settings that you can apply on the NVR itself when you're sat in front of the TV, you can do on here as well. It basically means that you can put the NVR away in a hidden cupboard somewhere, yet still have full access to all of its features, and be able to export clips and save clips if you want them. Okay, let's have a quick look at the remote access app on a phone. I'm running it on Android. The app is called Guard Viewer. I'll load that up. You have to first of all have your P2P account set up with the P2B service that WGCC is using. It's called star4live.com. You can register from within the app and get that set up, and once that's done, you've got full access remotely through the app, as you can see here. Now I can double tap on any of the cameras to view it full screen, zoom in and so on. What we've also got access to, if we go to the main menu, we can select Playback. We can choose a camera that we want to do the playback of, let's say front road, set the date, which is today, and now we can look at the bottom. We've got a timeline there that we can scroll back through, and I can go back to about 7:30 this morning, and as you can see, look at the clock on the thing, there we go, 7:30 this morning, and that's playing it back from the NVR in the app on the phone. Now, up until now, I've been bringing all my cameras together using a dedicated PC running a video surveillance program called Blue Iris. Now, Blue Iris running on a PC does the same job as an NVR. It can be a bit of a headache to set up. It's got lots of features, not only for the program settings, but also for each of the cameras. It doesn't really work out of the box. That's why I wanted to see how a dedicated NVR, like this one from WGCC, compares. And I'd say, as a small box designed for the job of... Twiglet, what are you doing? Don't leave drawers open in my house. Cats will jump in them. Anyway, where was I? Yes, so it's a small box. It's designed for the job of providing a proper CCTV system, and it does it exceptionally well considering the cost. For me, features like counting people entering a building, face detection, line crossing detection, that's not important to me, but this box does do all of those things. For me, I just want 24/7 recording, remote viewing, and motion detection, and this little NVR does all of that for me. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching.